Breaking news. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, has now moved to the appeal court to challenge the ruling delivered by Justice Omotosho, which foreclosed his defense in his ongoing terrorism trial. This move comes after his legal team claimed that the judge refused to entertain their motions, particularly those concerning the constitutional issues surrounding the charges leveled against him. So, let's break this down. What exactly is happening here, and why is it so significant? First off, the trial of Nnamdi Kanu has been a major point of contention in Nigerian politics and legal circles. Kanu, known for leading the call for Biafran independence, was arrested and charged under terrorism laws by the Nigerian government, something that many see as politically charged. The legal battle has been ongoing for years, and now we're seeing another pivotal moment unfold. Just a few days ago on November 11th, 2025, Kanu's defense team warned the court that it would be unjust for the judge to proceed with delivering judgment in Kanu's case without addressing the motions they had submitted. These motions are not just about legal technicalities. They raise serious questions about the charges against Kanu and the laws under which he is being prosecuted. His team argues that the charges were based on laws that were allegedly repealed, and that Kanu's rights to a fair trial have been compromised. They even claim that the judge's refusal to entertain these motions is a breach of Kanu's rights. Now, if you're wondering why this is so important, here's the big picture. This trial is not just about Kanu as an individual, it's about the broader implications for Nigeria's legal system and its political landscape. Kanu represents a figurehead for the Biafran separatist movement, and his prosecution is viewed by many in the southeast as politically motivated. The Nigerian government, on the other hand, sees him as a threat to national unity, accusing him of inciting violence and advocating for the secession of the southeast region. The court's decision could set a powerful precedent for how future political trials are conducted in Nigeria, especially when it comes to issues surrounding national security and freedom of speech. As it stands, Justice Omotosho has made a decision to proceed with judgment on November 20, 2025. However, Kanu's lawyers are pushing back, saying that key motions regarding the charges and the constitutional validity of the prosecution should be resolved before the court moves forward. These motions, particularly the one to arrest judgment, ask the court to reconsider the legal framework under which Kanu is being tried. His team insists that without hearing these motions, the court risks delivering a judgment that could be legally flawed. So, what does this mean for Kanu, and what happens next? Well, the appeal court is now the next stop in Kanu's legal journey. The legal battle is far from over, and we could see more developments in the coming weeks, especially around the scheduled judgment date. But here's the thing. This case isn't just about what happens inside the courtroom. It's also about what happens outside of it. Kanu has a massive following, particularly in the southeast, and any ruling that goes against him could lead to public unrest, protests, and possibly even violence. On the other hand, a ruling in his favor could further energize the secessionist movement, which would have significant implications for Nigeria's unity. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. This case is emblematic of the tensions that exist within Nigeria today. It reflects the growing discontent among certain ethnic groups, particularly the Igbo people who feel marginalized by the government. Kanu's arrest and trial have become a symbol of resistance for many in the southeast who believe that their voices are not being heard. The question then is whether this trial will resolve the issue or just deepen the divisions. As we wait for the judgment on November 20, there are several key issues to keep an eye on. First, will the appeal court intervene before the judgment is delivered? Kanu's legal team is pushing for this, arguing that the court should not proceed without resolving the motions they have filed. Second, if the judgment is delivered, what will it mean for Nigeria's political landscape? A guilty verdict would likely further embolden the Nigerian government's stance on secession, while an acquittal or delay could strengthen the calls for Biafran independence. Another key question to watch is how the public will react. The outcome of this trial will undoubtedly have political consequences. If Kanu is found guilty, it will be seen by many as a victory for the Nigerian government,
But for others, it will be a confirmation of what they already believe, an overreach by the state.
If he is acquitted, it will be a major blow to the government's case against him and could lead to a surge in Biafran nationalism. Either way, this trial is far from over, and the implications will be felt for years to come. So, what's at stake here? For the Nigerian government, the stakes are high. A conviction would send a message to those who challenge the state, particularly those advocating for secession. But for Kanu and his supporters, the trial is a battle for justice and freedom. It's not just about one man, it's about the future of the entire nation. Kanu's supporters see this as a fight for self-determination, while the Nigerian government views it as a fight for the integrity of the nation. As we look ahead to the upcoming judgment on November 20th, there's a lot riding on the outcome. Not just for Kanu and his supporters, but for the entire nation. We're at a crossroads here, and it's clear that whatever happens next will have far-reaching consequences. If the judge proceeds with delivering a verdict, it could either quell the tension or spark even more intense political unrest. We've already seen the power of public opinion when it comes to figures like Nnamdi Kanu, and this case has certainly captured the attention of both local and international audiences. Let's think about what might happen in the aftermath of the judgment. If the court rules against Kanu and upholds the charges, many of his supporters will feel that the judicial system is being used as a tool of political suppression. It could spark protests, unrest, and perhaps even escalate the calls for secession in the southeast. Kanu's arrest and subsequent trial have already served as a rallying point for Biafran separatists, and a conviction could serve to galvanize them even more. It's hard to ignore the symbolism of Kanu's case. It's more than just a legal battle, it's a battle for identity, autonomy, and self-determination. On the flip side, if the court rules in Kanu's favor, it will be a huge blow to the Nigerian government's efforts to suppress movements for regional independence. It could lead to a surge in nationalist sentiment, not just in the southeast, but potentially across the country. This could also lead to diplomatic tensions, as the international community would closely monitor how the Nigerian government reacts to such a decision. There's no doubt that the country's stability will be tested, regardless of the outcome. Let's take a moment to talk about the wider context here. This case is happening against the backdrop of a nation grappling with deep ethnic divisions and long-standing grievances. The Southeast, where Kanu and IPOB are most influential, has long felt politically marginalized. The calls for Biafran independence are not just about a desire to separate, but also about a deeper sense of exclusion from the political and economic mainstream. In this light, Kanu's trial is not just a personal matter, it's a reflection of the broader struggles faced by many Nigerians who feel that their voices are not being heard. This issue isn't new. Nigeria has a long history of secessionist movements, dating back to the Nigerian Civil War in the 1960s, when Biafra attempted to break away from the country. The scars of that war are still fresh in the minds of many people in the Southeast, and the desire for a separate Biafran state has been passed down through generations. Kanu's leadership of IPOB has reignited this debate, and his trial has become the latest chapter in that long and contentious history. But beyond the politics, there are human rights issues at play as well. Kanu's defense team argues that he has been denied a fair trial, that he was detained incommunicado for months without access to legal representation, and that his rights under Nigerian and international law have been violated. These are serious claims, and the failure of the court to address them before proceeding with judgment is raising alarms about the fairness of the entire process. The right to a fair trial is a cornerstone of any legal system, and whether Kanu receives one could set precedent for future cases in Nigeria, especially when it comes to politically sensitive issues. As this case progresses, one thing is clear. The eyes of the world are on Nigeria. The way this trial is handled will reflect the country's commitment to justice, human rights, and democracy. Whether Kanu is guilty or innocent of the charges against him, the question of whether he has been afforded the due process guaranteed by law is something that will reverberate far beyond the courtroom.
If the court denies him that process, it could further erode trust in Nigeria's legal system and undermine confidence in the government's ability to handle dissent. So, as we wait for November 20th, the stakes couldn't be higher.
The decision that day will not only impact Kanu's future, but also have a lasting effect on the political and legal landscape of Nigeria. Will the court deliver a verdict that brings closure, or will it spark a new chapter in the fight for justice and independence in the Southeast? Only time will tell. Before we wrap up, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen in the coming weeks? Do you believe Kanu's trial is fair, or do you think it's politically motivated? What does this case mean for Nigeria's future? Leave your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest developments in this crucial case. We'll be back soon to bring you more on what happens next.